Just got a $500 sale, Leo. We just got a $500 sale. Alright, bye. Hey guys, Abe here. Today we're going to be covering how to find your target audience, segmenting your ad sets by worldwide, tier 1 and US, horizontal scaling versus vertical scaling, and briefly about lookalike audiences. So right now we're in the ad set level of a conversion campaign. When I'm testing a product, I always do a conversion campaign, and for the pixel, which is not popping up right now, hold up.
One eternity later.
Okay, so for conversion event, I always do a purchase conversion. Whether you have 0 sales or 100 sales, I always do
purchase.
It doesn't matter. I've tested all of them. I've tested add to cart, view content. Purchase conversion always performs the best. So make sure you choose that. Scrolling down. So when we're segmenting ad sets by worldwide, tier 1 and US, I like to do US by itself. I like to do tier 1 countries by itself. So I have a tier 1 list right here. I'll show you. Feel free to copy it. I saved it right here. You could probably add more to it if you have any ideas. So basically I have like Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. I'll scroll through it so you can just copy it. But yeah, I'll target tier 1 by itself, I'll target US by itself, and I will target worldwide by itself. When I say worldwide, I mean I will click worldwide here, and I will exclude the tier 1 countries as well as the US, because I don't want to create any overlap. If you create overlap, you're going to be technically competing against yourself and driving up your own cost, unless the audience is like significantly huge. But in most cases, you don't want to do that. For anyone who doesn't have the budget to test all these things separate, if that's the case, I would test tier 1 and the US together. It's not a big deal. I just like to do it separate because I like to look at the data that way. And US is usually the best country to have good performance in, so I like to have it separated. Scrolling down, I always keep the ages broad, so I do 18 to 65 and both genders. The reason being is Facebook learns who your ideal demographic is over time, and you also have a breakdown tab so you can see what age group is buying, which gender is buying, which location is buying. So yeah, keep it broad, don't narrow down from the beginning unless it's like something very obvious, like a hair curl, or maybe you'll target just women for that because there's no point in targeting men. Now right here is detailed targeting. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to use the example of a hunting product. So suppose we're selling a hunting product and you want to know what to target. So I would type in hunting right here, right? Yes, it's broad, but I would still test it because sometimes you won't test an interest because you think it's too broad and it'll end up being a very good interest. So I'm always open to trying everything I can find. So right here you have the suggestions tab, and now it's going to show you interests that are related to hunting. This is how I get some inspiration for interests. So there's deer hunting, there's fishing, cabela's, camping. These are all potential interests that I would test. Even if they don't all work, this is how you find the winners and the losers. You cut the losers after a few days and keep the winners. Another way I go about finding interests is you can go to the Audience Insight tab right here, and I would go to interests right here, and I would type in hunting. Now if I click page likes, you're going to come down here and you're going to see a bunch of pages that are related to hunting. Now it doesn't always work, so make sure you do a little research and open the page and make sure it's related to the interest. But in this case, these are all hunting related interests. So legendary whitetails, chasing trophy whitetails, all these now not all of these names are going to show up as interests, but a majority of them may. National Rifle Association, I would see that as a good interest. And then over here you have an affinity score. So to make it simple, I'm just going to go by Facebook's definition. How likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. It means that people that like these pages are more likely to be interested in hunting. So they could be potentially very good interest. So I'd come back and I would look for that interest. Legendary details. Okay. Now this is a crucial piece of information, so listen closely. Yeah, this size right here is way too small, so I'm assuming that this is a US based company. So I would definitely check to see which country or state is. This potential reach right here is way too low, so I'm assuming it's a US based company. So I would definitely play around with the location demographics and make sure to find the proper size, because here it says they have over 1.7 million. So obviously we're targeting the wrong demographics. I'm assuming it's US. Now this is a crucial piece of information, so listen closely. Always test 1 interest per ad set. Do not stack 10 interests or 5 interests in one ad set. And the reason for that is when you're testing, let's say even if you were to get sales with all those stacked interests, you don't know which interest is giving you those sales. And you're distributing your budget between all those interests. So you could be spending a lot more money to acquire a sale, whereas if you had it by itself in an ad set, you would be paying a lot less to acquire a sale. So 1 interest per ad set. There's also flex targeting. I don't always do it, but like for instance, you could flex target this with the NRA, like the National Rifle Association. I don't do it often, but that's one way you can go about it. But normally, stick to 1 interest per ad set. All right, now scrolling down. Oh, and make sure this box right here, always unclick it. It just spends more money and it just wastes your money. It's not definitely don't want it clicked on. Now for placements, I always mess with placements. Generally, I would do just Facebook feed and Instagram feed when I'm testing. But lately, I've been testing more Facebook placements. So I would test, sometimes I'll test instant articles, right column, suggested videos, and marketplace. And they've been getting me some decent results. Again, you could break it down later and you can see where the sales are coming from, where you're spending too much money, and you can remove those placements. But generally, people would say test Facebook feed and Instagram feed. But lately, I've been having a lot of luck with these other placements, so I would definitely give it a try. And all devices, I like to see where we're getting the purchases. Sometimes desktop will outperform mobile, but generally speaking, mobile is the better platform for sales. So, but it still doesn't hurt. Test, you could break it down later. And lately, something I've been doing that not a lot of people do, click this box on. When you're out traveling, I highly doubt you're gonna purchase something while you're on your way home from work or on the bus, whatever it may be. Whereas if you're at home, you are more likely to buy. So I always click that on. I've tested it and I definitely see a difference in results. I'm paying a lot less for a sale, whereas if it was off. Now budget is a difficult topic to talk about, because the thing is that it's always different. I don't have a general rule that I stick by. The only thing I can say is I will never go below $10 per ad set, and it depends solely on the profit margins of the product. So if it's a high ticket product, I would probably test with anywhere between $50 to $100 per ad set. And in some rare cases, if I'm really confident in a product and I have super big margins, I will start each ad set at $300 each. I know that sounds a little ridiculous to some of you, but I like big budgets because you can accumulate data quicker and you control the market. So, you know, when there's competition, you're going to be getting that data a lot quicker. You can set up your lookalikes a lot quicker. But if it's a lower ticket product, I don't have a lot of luck with big budgets. It does work. Again, I would still test it, but I would test probably with anywhere between $10 to $20 per ad set, maybe even $30. But yeah, there's no general rule for it. It's personal preference, but I definitely wouldn't do under $10 per ad set, like 100%. And then optimization for ad delivery, leave it as conversions. Now, this isn't a deal breaker for ads, but I'm going to explain it to you in the best way I can possible. Before, I was doing one-day click. One-day click is basically like an impulse buy, meaning a customer sees your product and they will buy it within the same day because they really want it. Like, they don't have to think about it. Whereas 7 days click or one-day view is a purchase that someone needs to think about. So maybe they're going to see your ad today and they're going to purchase the product 3 days from now. Now, lately I've been doing 7 days click or one-day view, and the reason being is because if you have it on one-day click, and let's say you're getting most of your sales in the US, and most of the sales in the US are coming from New York, your ads are going to distribute more budget towards New York, not giving other states a chance. So if you have it on 7 days click or one-day view, it's going to distribute the budget better. So I like to leave it like that. But again, it doesn't make or break your ads. It's not going to be the difference between making your ad set a winning ad set or losing ad set. That's just how I do it. And then now we're going to go cover horizontal scaling versus vertical scaling. So we have this little diagram right here. Obviously, vertical scaling is just increasing your budget. So if you're testing on $20, maybe you're going to increase it to $100 or $500. Again, it's like what I said before. It depends on the margins of the product. I generally only mess with high ticket stuff. I'm not into the low ticket stuff. So I push higher budgets when I'm testing and just generally. But for an example, let's say we were testing our ad sets on $20 each and it's working. What I would do is I would take the cost per purchase and I would multiply it by either any number between 5 and 20. So if my cost per purchase was $40, I would take 40 and I would multiply it by 20, and my budget would be $800. And I do something called the 10x rule. So my bid would be $80. But that doesn't mean that I won't increase the bid or decrease the bid. Just because your budget's on $800 doesn't mean it's going to spend the entire $800 on a manual bid. So what I would do in that case is I would increase every 2 to 3 hours in increments, like $5 to $10 on the bid until it starts spending. You gotta find that sweet spot. Now, there's also cases where your budget spends way too quick, and in those cases, I would lower the bid in increments every few hours until it's spending at a very normal pace. But yeah, besides that, now just moving on to horizontal scaling, what it is it's just expanding out. So I'll try more interests, I'll try more lookalikes, I'll set up retargeting, etc. You're expanding. So whereas you can push higher budgets on manual bids, maybe lower budgets are working better for you, and what you'll do is you'll make more ad sets on lower budgets to equal the same amount as what you would be spending on that one manual bid. Again, it's always good to there's no like special formula to follow. When people talk about like, oh, this is the formula to test and this and that, blah blah blah, don't listen to them. There's no secret technique. Everything is testing. What works on one product doesn't work on another product. You have to test, and you gain this experience over time as you keep doing it. I'm still learning. I've done very well with Facebook ads, but I'm always learning, and I'm never going to refer to myself as like an expert. I'm always learning, trying to improve. So just moving forward. Okay, so retargeting. A lot of people ask me, how do you set up your retargeting? There's obviously more to it than this, but there's not enough time for me to go over all of it in this video. So just a general rule I follow. So you're retargeting people who are in different stages of your funnel. So I'll retarget people who viewed the product but didn't add it to their cart, people who added it to their cart but didn't initiate checkout, people who initiated checkout but didn't purchase. Maybe you'll retarget someone who watched 95% of your video but didn't purchase, or people who engaged with your Instagram post or clicked the call to action. Maybe they clicked shop now, anything like that. You want to set up retargeting from day one, and I segment it. So I'll retarget people from 1 day, 2 to 3 days, 4 to 7 days, 8 to 14 days, and 15 to 30 days. And I usually will retarget them with different posts between each segmentation, and usually I will have a different offer for them. So maybe for 1 day, I'm just reminding them that they had something in their cart, or they viewed a product but they didn't add it to their cart. And maybe 2 to 3 days I'll retarget them with a 5% discount, and then 10% discount, etc. You get the point. You're retargeting that cold. So you originally you were running prospecting ads. Then they went on your site. They became what is called warm traffic. It means they know about your brand, and now you're retargeting that warm traffic who already knows about your brand with an offer. And this is where I make most of my money. Like sometimes I'll sell a high ticket thing and I'll lose money on my prospecting ads, but when I retarget them, I'll make it all back and more. Like I'll be totally in huge profit just from retargeting. And then you have email flow retargeting and all that, but that's for a different video. So make sure you're setting up your retargeting. If you're not, you're losing thousands of dollars. I know a guy who pushed $1 million in sales, and I'm like, wow, man, that's great. And he told me like he never set up any retargeting, and I'm just like, I couldn't believe it, because you know how much money you lost just not setting up retargeting? Like you left so much money on the table. Like it's like upsetting. Don't ever do that. So remember, start it up from day one, segment it, different ad copies for different segmentations. You could even go as far as segmenting the country, so you can retarget people from the US, your tier 1 list, and people worldwide. You can separate everything, or you can put it together. Personal preference, I separate everything. That's just how I do it. And then this is a special, I don't want to say special technique, but a technique that's not talked about a lot. And basically it's another way to horizontally scale. So you'll take your winning campaigns and you will import them into a bunch of ad accounts. And the reason you do this is because every ad account performs on a different level. So maybe you're testing a product and you're getting a 5x on it, and maybe I'm testing that same product you're testing, but I'm getting a 2x, and we have all the same stuff, but you're just getting a higher return. It's because each ad account is graded differently. So when you're doing the imports, not every ad account will work, but you might get a bunch of ad accounts that are working, and you can literally jump from doing 20K a day to 40K in literally one day, because you're doubling all your ad sets up into other ad accounts. You can also import your retargeting and all that. It's a very good method. I don't know how long it's going to continue to work, but as of right now, it works for me, and you can scale extremely fast with this. And then, as many of you may know, recently Facebook came out with campaign budget optimization. That's another way to scale, but we're going to save that for the next video. So let's see. Okay, so that's the end of that. Now, just a quick understanding of what lookalikes are. One sec. So, a lookalike audience, I'm not the best at explaining what it is, but basically you are creating a custom audience based on data you fed to your pixel on a particular product or lead, whatever it is. And Facebook gives you the ability to create a lookalike audience off that funnel. So look, here's the definition. Reach new people who are similar to audiences you already care about. You can create a lookalike audience based on people who like your page, conversion pixels, or any of your existing custom audiences. So you would have a custom audience already. You would click the source for it. And what you can do here, again, how we talked about segmenting, you could segment US, you can segment tier 1 countries worldwide. It's totally up to you. I like to separate everything. So I'll do, for instance, I would do United States. And I would test, you can test more percents in this, but I do 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5, and 5 to 10. And the reason I do it like this is because you don't want huge overlap. Anything over 20% overlap on your audiences will definitely make it so you're competing against yourself, and you're going to just drive your costs up. So I do it like this to create less overlapping. And obviously you could test more percents. There's a lot more depth to this than what I'm showing here, but this is just a general understanding of how I would go about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope you guys liked this video. I'm going to try to put out a video at least once or twice a week, probably more likely once a week. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. Hit the subscribe button, and peace.